You gotta calculate the risks.
Yeah.
So even if you just tweet something about the president, you might go to jail.
Welcome. In this clip, there were three young students who were perusing my work. Got into conversation with them, and there were two of them from Turkey, and one of them was from Jamaica. And I don't know, I guess it must be the culture, obviously the culture, but it seems that the students, exchange students from overseas, aren't as arrogant or as airheaded as the ones we have here in America. Of course, I'm speaking in generalizations. There are exceptions to all of this. But these three were very polite and very receptive, I think, to what was going down. And they had some good argument for their points of view. But overall, I hope I reached them and giving them something to think about. And it's just what I do out there, and it's nice when I can run across young people that have these kind of conversations. If in any small way I can change things for the better. And if you want to help me to continue doing this, well, you know what to do. Hit all the appropriate buttons and make all the appropriate contributions. And share. I noticed in my last video I put up, for some reason the view counter wasn't being calculated at all. I had 0 views and I don't know, X number of likes and 10 comments, and I got that all but no views. Very strange. So something's going on with YouTube that's goofy, and I will probably have to switch over to Bitchute at some time, especially with the changes that YouTube's coming down with. And the censorship and all that's going on. Man, it's going to be a shame because I'm going to have to basically start from scratch again. But hopefully enough of you loyal followers will follow me over there, and I can start out with a halfway decent base. So anyway, time, let's get to this. It's a long one, so I'll enjoy it. And let me know what you think. See you on the flip side.
Where?
Boston.
Boston?
Yeah.
And what are you studying?
I study international relations and psychology.
Whoa! That's quite heavy.
Yeah.
And yourself, sir?
Yeah, I study marketing at Florida.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was in marketing a good deal of my life.
Oh, okay.
Almost everything is marketing. It isn't it's how it's being presented, and
you know, exactly.
which is changing dramatically in a lot of different ways.
Exactly.
And you're going to school also there? Selling ganja? I saw something here. I beg you both, if you want to get a good education on some things that are happening in our near future.
Okay.
This book I'm reading here about 5G and how it's connecting with our bio nature and our rhythms.
Yeah.
And actually changing our human nature.
Okay.
So hard to get copy, but you can get copies of this if you search for it. But
I'll take a picture of it.
yeah.
Okay.
But it might help you in some of your, you guys got to face it. I'm pretty much over it, but you guys got to face it. But this has got a lot of information here on the connection between the cell phones and and how it actually connects with our biorhythms and changes our cellular makeup. And kind of scary stuff, but it's all there. So international relations and psychology. There you go. I think that's kind of a good mix.
I think so, because if you understand how people think, like it makes it easier to understand, like, I guess, why politicians act the way they do under the influence of whatever.
Thank you.
And just understanding, like, human nature in general,
Yes.
like, it understand why we have war and whatever.
There's really not that. I mean, people are influenced, and you know this from marketing. There's only a few things you have to trigger on, right? Greed, fear, sex. Right?
That's true. That's true.
You hit those emotional hot buttons. And then you can go from there and, manipulate people wherever you want them to go.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad to see you guys are open-minded and, you kind of appreciate what's going on.
I appreciate it. It's art.
And I find that people from overseas typically have a better, because you got a history. I mean, especially from Europe and the Middle East and all, there's a long history there. So
exactly.
We're still here in this country more like babies.
If you open this in my school, they would shut you down in 2 seconds.
Unfortunately,
they would all start protesting.
Unfortunately, I think the school system here has become extremely corrupted. I speak to a lot of educators and whatnot here, and they don't educate as much as indoctrinate.
That's true.
So how do you guys handle that? I guess you do it because you grew up properly.
It's so much more, like, where we're from, it's more like the education system is way more even complicated.
Like, if a teacher is against the current government, like, they just get fired. It's way more harsh.
Indeed. The current government in Turkey seems to be extremely authoritarian. So you think you can move back there, or you still got family there, I assume?
What? We have family there.
You can go back there and try to reform it? It's gonna be...
Try to reform it?
I'm not too sure.
You got to calculate the risks. So even if you just tweet something about the president, you might go to jail, So.
It's getting fabulous, thank you! Making you guys look like fools! I have fun out here. All about this stupid impeachment thing here going on, which is going to go nowhere. It's absolutely foolish. What do you think of the Donald?
I think he's not a bad president. I think he has. There's like small changes I've noticed. Like I've noticed like gas prices have gone down, and like small stuff that like things have gotten a little bit cheaper, which is I appreciate that. That's important to people. So I think every president that comes.
Even Bill Clinton said it's the economy, stupid. People basically vote with their bellies. If you can give me a job, if you can lower prices, put food on the plate, that's.
There's voters like that.
This whole social justice, PC correctness, transgender, how many genders are there? I mean, this is all just made up stuff to kind of confuse the whole, muddy the waters.
I mean, the more than 2 genders thing, I don't believe that. Like, that there's more than 2 genders. But at the same time, I do believe that there are transgender people. Like, for example, not letting transgender people serve in the military is it doesn't make sense to me, Because why?
Like, that's the thing. Like, I get it, this whole, like, bullshit with all these different terms and stuff. I get it confuses people. But I also think, there are people who it's very difficult to identify what they are exactly, and even when they're born, they have difficulty. That's just an issue. I know it's not a major issue in terms of like the majority, but to them, it's a big deal because they've never been put in the same field like everyone else.
And I don't disagree with that. The problem, I think, is that the politicians and the powers that be will use those minorities to manipulate the masses. In other words, really, I'm telling you, most people don't give a fat rat's ass what you are as long as you're not bothering them.
Oh yeah.
You know,
they baby them.
Yeah, I mean, do what you want to do as long as you're not harming someone else or trying to interfere with me. But when you have transgenders having tranny book tours, going to speak to 5-year-olds about masterbation, that's a problem.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Then you're pushing it to a level where you're actually trying to change society and put things in there that don't need to be. 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds don't need to be don't need to be informed about sex. You know, let them be kids.
Whatever you guys
Let them be kids. Let them be, and don't put. I mean, you got people.
Let them live how they want to live.
Yeah, you got kids now that are being forced, even changing their sex before they get into their teens.
Oh yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah.
So that part right there, and trying to be, I mean, what do transgenders make up? Less than half of 1%, maybe entire world population. Okay, well, do what you want to do. We're not going to. You just don't. Why do we have to bend over backwards to it?
No,
everybody.
I don't think it's that necessarily. I think it's like it's easy for us to say these things, and I agree with you to some extent. But we're not these parents who have to deal with this stuff. Like you know what I mean? Like,
then let them deal with it, and that's fine. Yeah. But again, why make it like the big issue when it isn't not a big issue? I mean, if you're having problems with it,
it is a big issue in their life.
But why are they pushing it on us? That's the point. I'm saying why. Yes, it's a big issue in their lives. Okay. Life's tough. You're going to have problems. I don't care what it is. Right now, old white guys are being picked on. Well, okay. I'm going to have to deal with that.
Yeah, everybody should deal with themselves.
Thank you. We all got problems, but the idea
why shouldn't we let them, for example, be in the military?
Because the military has one specific reason. Kill people. That's it. You're not in there to social organize or change anything. If you cannot follow that one dictate, then you're disrupting the defenses of the country. Period. You shouldn't be going in there to try to change. That's not a social programming network.
Yeah, but if a transgender person can do that job, which is to kill, why shouldn't,
Okay.
Why shouldn't they be allowed?
Because it usually goes.
Qualified to do the
again,
job.
it usually goes beyond it because they usually make an issue of that. It usually gets beyond that. I mean, you have to go to the military to be in it to understand that. But even the military people that I speak to today, saying that the military is being changed and being damaged by the politicians who are injecting social programming into it.
Okay, I get what you mean, but anyone who's qualified should be able to participate, shouldn't they? Why should they not be able to participate just because of their?
And I think they are, but I mean,
they are.
And I think they are, but again, I don't. Again, they make us such a small percentage of the.
What was it called?
Program.
But you see,
don't ask, don't tell. Yeah.
So basically, you're saying, they're making this a very big issue, but at the same time, Trump is making it a very big issue by not letting them, because it causes outrage. If he would just let them be, and if Democrats wouldn't put that much pressure,
then be outraged. It's fine. I mean, we shouldn't have to bend over backwards for people that are going to.
Over backwards. We're just giving them equal opportunity in this case.
Again, if you're disrupting the prime objective, that's the problem. I mean, look, all right, if they don't want, I'm not going to go someplace they don't want me. If you don't want me there, hey, I'm out the door. There's plenty of places to go to be, to do what you want to do and be what you want to be. But, why? I mean, you've got people now that are actually going around disrupting, suing for no other reason because they can. And that in itself is a problem. Because then, you have that one guy, what does he do? All he does is go around and try, oh yeah, he was going around as a transgender. And he was going around, he wanted to get his balls shaved into, he was going to places where
I heard that.
Yeah,
He wanted a bikini wax.
The bikini wax, right? He wanted the bikini wax. And he would sue every place that wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing you breed.
That doesn't represent every transgender.
Yeah, but this is what you kind of breed. People that are you got to recognize that there's going to be, there's a little bit of something deviant or a little bit something wrong with people. And through this, we're being programmed. I guarantee you, we're being programmed through the internet, through the entertainment, through our music, to accept things that are not normal, that are different from our normal sense of being. Believe me, I'm old enough to be part of that generation that didn't have to deal with the influences, but I grew up into the influences. Things like this entire electronic revolution. I don't care if it was TV. TV polluted us. The things you see visually on TV and hear visually on TV have changed the course of history. Marketing through the, right? It's just the way it is. It changes what we were from 150 years ago. We are different human beings now, and not all of it was improving. A lot of it because the people that invented these things know what they do. They are in control of them.
Yeah.
And so because they are in the control, what's the one thing that powers that people want to do in the political situation you're studying? Control. Control is everything. I'll give you another good example of that. How they can change a person's mind and put them into a system that is totally insane and disbelief. Global warming. Climate change. Okay. In 1971, I helped start the Institute for Environmental Alternatives with Professor Ron Cohn in Los Angeles. I lived with scientists for 3 years because that's when ecology, it's called ecology.
Evan, here's some
It was first coming out, and it was all about pollution and what we were doing to the environment. We knew back then that the government would come in and use what we were finding out for some political purpose. We didn't know what that political purpose would be at the time, other than we knew it would have something to do with control. They picked on what? Ooh, CO2. Bad. Well, CO2 is an element of life. It makes up 0.04% of the entire atmosphere, and it's been that way for a long time. One volcano spews out more CO2 than mankind has produced since the beginning of time. So CO2, out of all the gases that they spew in the air, is just a trace element. But why do they pick on it? Because we produce it. And if we produce it through our energy sources, and they can control the energy, they can control us. And if they control us, they got us. So they pick on that. Oh, you've got a carbon footprint. You're a bad person. You have to stop using all that stuff. And in the meantime, they're flying around in jets to their global warming conferences. Obama's buying a $14 million mansion on the coastline. We're supposed to be flooding. It's all bullshit. I had a talk out here with Professor David Dilley out here a couple of weeks ago. Climate Scientologist for 40 years. You wanted to go look this guy up. He can't get a debate. He would love to debate someone that believes in global warming. They won't debate him because you will never see, and here's you have something you got to wonder about. Have you ever seen a skeptic of climate change debating a believer in it? And the reason you won't see that is because they would be defeated in a heartbeat. There's so many ways to defeat that fallacy. So that right there, and so when they stopped the Yale-Harvard football game the other day at halftime because a bunch of protesters took over the field. Oh, you have to stop climate change, we're all going to die in 10 years. You idiots. You're useful idiots if you believe that. I mean, it's insanity. But they do it because they want to go ahead and limit our travel and our ability to do that. Look it up. I'm serious. Here's something else you want to look up. Look up the history of climate and weather modification programs. You will see going back to 1891, government and private programs that manipulate the weather. Why isn't that ever brought up in any climate change program? It's a pleasure talking to you guys. And before you go, thank you. I mean, I think you guys are going to go a long way. I think you do very good. You know, seriously, I, you know, it's nice to be able to speak to some young, because a lot of young college students are like indoctrinated already. They're too far gone. This is a get out of jail free card from Hillary Clinton. It's good for any crime in the world. You'll be able to see the conversation I had with David Dilley on Professor David Dilley.
So just commit a crime and show us.
Yeah, you just have to identify yourself as Hillary and you'll get right out of there. You know, it's like you have way too much class to do that. So you know.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure talking to you guys. Have a good day.
So that was a nice group, nice couple, nice group of students there. Again, if you like it, you like it. If you care, share. If you can, you contribute. And don't forget to pray for me out there. Okay, guys, I'll see you on the streets. God bless.